Good morning. This is Phil Ferguson, and this is another video on how to drive an electric car. Just something real basic to show you how it's done. Taking the Ioniq 6 from the Orlando area up to Myrtle Beach. We're going to go north on Interstate 4 and then get on 95, go over the line into Georgia, about 200 miles, and we'll stop there and charge at a Pilot Flying J that we've used before, and know that it only takes 8 or 10 minutes to add enough fuel to then get to Savannah. And I like that Savannah location because there's 3 or 4 different chargers, 3 or 4 different brands that all seem to be working, but I have choices and backups. So I like to have those available to me. And then north of Savannah, we're going to go over to US 17 and go towards the coast and go through Charleston up to Myrtle Beach along the coast to see if we can get some scenic views there. This path is 6 minutes longer than sticking on the interstate as long as possible, but it does save something like 20 miles. So it'll help improve the range and the efficiency of the car and hopefully be a more scenic route in just adding 6 minutes of driving. This image shows you the initial starting condition of the drive in the bottom left. 100% battery, charged overnight at home to make sure it was topped off. And in the lower right, you can see 25,000 miles, 25,852. And I don't record during the drive. Those are cute and nice when people do those, but I'm going to try to keep this quick. So we're just going to jump along. But our first stop here is in town. And I just put this up to show you we're getting 5.5 miles per kilowatt hour because we're driving in town. But then we drive north, and this is the bridge into Jacksonville, or outside of Jacksonville, on the east side of Jacksonville. And we are going around Jacksonville. And we go all the way up to the state line, and we cross the state line going north in Georgia. And we stop there because there's a Pilot Flying J that we really like. We've taken this trip up north a couple of times. And in this case, we started at 33%. You can see on this image, this is from the Pilot Flying J screen from the GM EVgo Pilot Flying J stations, which work really nice. And this car, the Ioniq 6, you can see there, even at 61% state of charge, we're still getting 192 kilowatt. This is an incredibly fast charging car. We were there for a total of 9 minutes. Just went to 69% because we knew that we were going to stop in Savannah for our next location. And the reason we stop in Savannah, because this is where we have a weakness in the system that should get fixed. If I'm looking for very fast chargers on I-95 north of Savannah, there is only one location between Savannah and about 120 miles away. And there's only one stop in there, and it's an Electrify America that doesn't have a very good score. So I want to skip that location. So that kind of requires us to stop outside of Savannah along I-95. I think it's Pooler, Georgia. Electrify America station there. We've charged at this a couple of times, and we had, again, in this situation, you can see that I'm charging at 174 kilowatt, which is nice, but at this level of the battery, I should be getting 200, 220, so it's a little slower than it should be, but, we're charging. It only adds a few minutes. We ended up charging there all the way up to 80%, which took us 16 minutes, did not need to charge that much at all. We could have probably been there 10 or 12 minutes and been fine, but, it is what it is. We were at that Electrify America at the Walmart for 16 minutes. And then our next stop, we went to North Charleston, South Carolina, and a little bit north of Savannah. We turned on to, I think it's US 17, and went over to Charleston, North Charleston, and there was a Mercedes-Benz station. It's not a dealership, but it's just Mercedes-Benz chargers, and we got there with about 49% state of battery, and here we were charging at 183% or 183 kilowatt at 50%. maybe it was a little slower than it could have been because there was a little bit of chill in the air and we weren't preconditioning, and the speed fell to 139 kilowatt by 65%. But we were only there 6 minutes because we didn't need much. And the amazing thing is that stretch of a drive, the average speed was 56 miles per hour. And the next leg is actually even slower, 49 miles per hour, because it was country roads and occasionally stop signs. And this is one of those things that you can think about when driving an electric car. If you have a route that's not high speed on the interstate, but it's more direct, even if it's slower. And in this case, like I said, we at the very beginning, we add about 20 minutes of driving during our day, but it's a lot slower speed, much less miles, so your efficiency goes way up. It makes the charging a whole lot easier. When we were really close to our destination in Myrtle Beach, we stopped at another Electrify America, and you can see that we definitely were victims of the colder weather. It wasn't particularly cold, but a little cooler, and our charging speed was 115 kilowatt. And I don't know how much of that was from it being cooler or it just Electrify America. And sometimes the chargers don't go that fast. With this car at 61%, I can be close to 200 kilowatt, and here it's only 115. But we were only there for 7 minutes because it didn't take that long. And what I have now for you, just for your entertainment, are a couple of pictures of our stay in Myrtle Beach. You know, you got the sunsets, you get beach, another sunset. I think the first one was a sunrise. This is the sunset, and kind of a zoom in on the sunset. A little bit of waves the next day, and another beautiful sunset photo. And then we had a little scenery in the area. So this is one of the piers. After the weekend was over, we started our drive back and made a completely and totally unnecessary stop just to test out a brand new Circle K station in the Myrtle Beach area. Just charged there for 6 minutes. And then we drove south back to North Charleston and went back to our Mercedes-Benz charging station. And again, because we were driving slow speeds on a state road, we only went from 90% to 60% battery, and just stopped here for a potty break just for a few minutes, literally a few minutes. We were there for only 3 minutes. And as we continue south, we go to Savannah and we stop at our Electrify America. And this was a little bit longer trip, and we charged at the Electrify America. You can kind of sort of see here that we're getting 143 kilowatt. And I think we were there for a total of 13, maybe 14 minutes at the Electrify America, and got topped off. And then we continued our drive south. And this time it was a little bit of a longer drive, 160 miles. Let's see, how long did it take us? 2.5 hours because of traffic, from Savannah all the way south through Jacksonville and down to St. Augustine. There's a Buc-ee's there with Mercedes-Benz charging equipment. It is the Alpitronic HYC 400s, which can do 400 kilowatts in total, but the car can't take that much. But we charged from 17% to 64% in about 12 minutes. Is, the real nice thing with the car when the weather's nice and the chargers are nice and the car is ready. Some ideas for the trip total here. We got back to the house at 31% state of charge. We drove approximately 995 miles. Each leg of driving was about 125 miles, so a little bit over 2 hours. And, we could have driven longer on each leg, but that's what it worked out to because of a couple stops that we took that we were really short, just to try to test out some equipment. The average miles per kilowatt hour is 3.9. The average time per leg was 1.94 hours, basically 2 hours. Our average speed was 57.6 miles per hour. We spent a total of 69.5 minutes charging over 8 charging stops. for an average charging time per location of 8.69 minutes of charging. So those a couple of charges that were 3 and 6 and 7 minutes, we obviously didn't need those stops, and we could have had probably easily 2 less stops. But this was an example of short legs, short amount of driving, 2 hours per leg. And when you do that, your charging time is 9 minutes, a little less, 9 minutes per stop. And just a fun calculation factor. I don't know if anyone else uses it, but I like to calculate how many miles can you get per minute of charging. And on this case, because of the pretty good fast charging, pretty good weather, we got over 14 miles per minute of charging. So that means that if you want to get 60 miles, it takes 4 minutes. 120 miles takes 8 minutes. Well, that kind of makes sense. We were driving 2 hours between stops, and each stop was about 9 minutes. So that works out pretty good. So 2 hours per drive and about 9 minutes on average per charging stop. Could have been considerably better. The only station that we had any difficulty with was the Savannah, Georgia, off I-95. It's not technically Savannah. It's called Pooler, Georgia, the Electrify America station there. It just always seems to be underrated and slows us down a few minutes each time we're there, but not a real big deal. So 1,000 miles and about 9 minutes per stop, 2 hours per leg of driving. And hopefully that gives you an idea of what driving a really efficient and fast charging car like the Ioniq 6 is like.